Once again, thank you to our anonymous sponsor who's sponsoring the Shirim for the benefit of Kol Torah Chaim campaign, trainingposkim.org. You can contribute to our stuff. Okay, we get towards the end of the mission now, and we have a very interesting attribute which really was connected to the other last three that we spoke about, but I made it separately here. Oyev ish anshe beis. So really, it means that the members of one's household become one's enemies, and that seemed to be what we said in 15, 14, 15, 16, where we spoke about sons attacking fathers, daughters attacking mothers, and daughter-in-laws attacking their mother-in-laws. Who's left besides maybe the father-in-law, and the son-in-law? Um, but so who's Oyev Ish Anshi Beso? So the Medrash Rabbah Nun Dalet Aleph says Oyev Ish Anshi Beso. Ma'aseh Bisha Shkibla Al Baila Sultan V'Hita Zes Rosh. Right? His talk Zu Ishto. Yochanan Zu Ishto. We know the Gemara says Lolam Lo Yikra Ishto Ishto Hala Ishto Beisai. Right? Beso. A woman is called, a wife is called Beso, and the Beso, the a wife, will become her husband's enemy. Eitz Yosef also says that Ein Beso Ishtai, and you find many places, in fact, where Ishto is called Beso, a wife is called one's household. A wife is called one's household. And if there's one area where, if there's one area really where, which needs tremendous chizuk in these days, tremendous chizuk, that's the area of shalom bayis. Right? I don't believe there is one person, or maybe there is a few, very few, a very small percentage of the people who do not at some point in their life have an issue with shalom bayis. Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach said by his wife Slavaya that he's not going to ask for forgiveness because in 50 years of marriage they never had a fight. But so often spouses get upset with each other and they fulfill this this midah of oyev anshi beso. They become enemies of each other, which is sad because each good gufo, and Isha is one with her husband. And I chatasi ani maskra yom, when my wife and I got married, we were coming from very, very different places. My wife was coming from the very, very laid back, chilled environment of Rio de Janeiro, and I'm coming from the very fast paced New York scene. And it was many, many years for us to understand that neither one is right or wrong. Right? The way to have shalom bayis is to understand that your spouse is the way he or she is, and to accept them the way they are, and exactly they are. That's the way they're meant to be, and to accept that with all your heart. When you do that, then you are setting yourself up for tremendous siyata d'shmaya and tremendous bracha on your household. That's one shot of Anshi Beso. The Shut or Letzion, Chilik Dalit, Peri Gimel, Ha'ara Beis, brings a very, very interesting explanation in this Mishnah, and as follows: that the that there's three major types of mekatrigan. Right, on Rosh Hashanah we say we eat three different types of food. That's karsi, silka, and tamri. Sorry, karsi, right, Rosh Hashanah, tilson, karsi, silka, tamri, and krai. And each one we say, we make a different bakasha, right? And says Rabbi Tzina B'Shol, there's some mekatrigan, right, that we can't request that they should die. We can only request that they should go away. That's one. There's a second one, which Rabbi Tzia B'Shol says those are called Oyiv Anshe Ish Anshe Beso. This is what the Mishnah refers to. Those are Kokos Ara, right, that are created from our Averas, right, that we request in Rosh Hashanah that they should be completely destroyed. Shikarsu Avenu, that they should be cut off. And finally, there's a third type, right, that are the Rishoyim, Mivakish, that they should die and be destroyed, and that's Thomas Oneno, right? That all of these should be destroyed. Hashem should help us. We should have shalom bayis, and all our enemies should be destroyed. The Makat should they come from our averas. I saw recently in Sefer Tkuni Zohar. Tkuni Zohar says that shalom bayis problem, where they emanate from. We know that in the higher worlds there's what's called Za and Nuk. Right, Za is the six lower spheres, and Nuk is the lower sphere of Malchus. They're meant to come together. The way say L'Shem Yuchad, referring to these coming together, the uniting of all these seven spheres, right? And the difficulty that a person has with Shalom Bayis, that is a representation of the difficulty in bringing the tikkunim that are meant to be made, bring all these spheres together, the spheres of Zah and the spheres of Nuk, right? If we see things heating up in our household, we should know that the source of this is above. We should turn our eyes to heaven and daven to Hashem that should help us with this very, very difficult endeavor. And we should have great siyata shmai in this. And once again, last chance to make a contribution to our campaign of at trainingposkim.org. Please do it now, and B'ezrat Hashem, we'll all have siyata shmaya to be zeiche to have true poskim for the next generation, poskim who can help bring shalom bayis between ish and isha, poskim who can decide the most difficult questions that come before them, and poskim have the wisdom and the understanding to issue true psak for Klal Yisrael. Amen.